spending some time around hospitals, but also there just seems to be so much talk about AIDS and cancer, just everywhere. People living long and ending up spending all the time in hospital. This is called In the Hospital Waiting Room 3. I cannot help but think they're already dead. These two people waiting for prescriptions. If I regard their presence as incidental, it is because they look sicker than I am. Here waiting for something I cannot imagine, unless I look at them as already dead and unlike me. She sits in a wheelchair, no more than a page of old woman. Her grandson, or maybe her nephew by her side, speaking Polish. And near them is the one with the ghost in his eyes, a young man, alone, flipping pages, filling time. I think he has AIDS. And as though I've glanced away too quickly from a bright light, I see in his eyes painful yellow, the colour of tired metal, an old liverish coin, blunted, bruised, as though already worn down by circular bone walls, something left behind in his eyes which suffers, music, love, a poem, some young thing, almost forgotten. The old woman is also ill, but her eyes spread across the room like the steamy black hearts of violets. And in her, a young woman, all fat and apples, is gathering up full circle skirts, heavy with embroidering, 1 foot tapping, looking eagerly out upon a great fresh distance, saying, come on, I'm ready. Her grandson. I imagine him to be her grandson now because he is pure and beautiful to her without competition. Her grandson is also a young man, but unlike the other, he is healthy and therefore handsome. He is here to help his grandmother, to translate for her. And I admire him for many minutes, and still look away comfortably without pain, as years ago from my father, strong and young, felling jacaranda trees, or carrying us, his small, sleepy children, late at night, in the precise likeness of his own. No windows in this waiting room. The silence divides us like the cardboard partitions between a box of china cups, each fate a small, separate compartment of past, of sleeping with an infected lover, of dirty needles, of bearing 9 Polish children and suffering, of searching governments for their faces, books for their message, pages for their design. The old yellow ghost in the young man's body, each day needed as a book in the page, time needed that hungrily. And a young, pretty ghost in the old woman's body, time used for so long. And a grandson, still unshadowed, twined tight and strong and perfect, into an image untainted by age or sickness or love, like a child's, a lucky child's memory of the father. I don't know if well, probably a number of people remember it'll be 2 years ago this Christmas that a guy in Quebec at the University of Montreal went into a science class, a 25-year-old guy, and divided the science class into the women and the men, and then shot the 14 women in his class, and then he suicided. And one of the reasons he did this was he said that that he had said before that feminists had ruined his life. And this was such a terrible, terrible tragedy that I wrote this poem about it from his mother's point of view. And it's called The Mock Runner because at about the time I was thinking about this, I saw in a museum this implement which in Malaysia people use to catch people that run berserk, and of course there's no firearms there, and they have this long stick which all the tribe gets together and catches the person and calms them down. And just these two things seem to resonate. It's called a mock runner. marriage vows, bells, lovers' songs foretold that moment. 25 years ago, when cool flannel caressed a young bride's cheek. The moment love became embryo cannot be recalled, let alone repealed. And was it then innocence was taken? Or was it a millisecond later that this mated speck was sown with a tiny pearl of hatred? Leaves laid down over the years until the day he divided a room into the X and the Y. The men and the women, shot 14 of the women, and then the one Y, which was himself. All the clever axioms of all the clever schools have no formula for this imbalance. Blood is stained the books we place like trust in the dusty suitcases, along with the silver spoons, the high school trophies. We bury the bodies with their artifacts, their thirsty young women's lips. And we'll leave a picture for him too, to slake the thirst of his journey. Perpetrator. His beautiful name rolls across my lips like mercury, spilling a music of possibilities, a name which should have opened a mother's face to the sun like a flower. I read into his photograph the newsworthiness of snakeskin, wonder why they call it a spree like shopping. Yes, you have met my son before, he has many brothers. At first they eat and sleep and cry like children, and then they pull on green fatigues and brood in darkened rooms, flinch and decide upon persecutors. Rinsing their mouths with a lime of impotence, they spit bullets and missiles, which fire in the short, sharp, ecstatic bursts of feminists ruin my life of sour semen and stammering weeds. Perpetrators, sons, sorrows, whatever you call them, they roam alone or in packs, feeding upon the fallibilities of our certain world. They are afraid of women, afraid of the vision which snakes from women on the windswept evenings and darkening moons of their wish to become something strong. They are afraid of men, afraid of the male fingers tightening their ties, slipping their own protective hands down to crotch level, marbles in their ears to block out the torrent of expectation and blame. Am I the only mother here to have her placenta torn out like a heart? And where is the long net used to catch amok runners like butterflies? Tonight, outside this cabin, beyond the cloud of my breath, the mountains glow cream in the moonlight. The colour of cream pristine upon its shelf should not be touched, because above it amok runners do not rest quietly once done. They are still running there, beyond sound, in the ominous agitation of the stars. Habitual kings upon the moon, stiletto of grief, you are my sorrow. For those 14 women, all women like me, but some nights alone, I will betray my sleep and my sex, to sit furtively with my banished son of the stars.